I woke up that morning feeling like the luckiest woman alive. Sunlight streamed through our bedroom windows, painting golden stripes across the Egyptian cotton sheets Ryan had surprised me with last month. Today marked our 3rd anniversary. 3 years since I'd said I do to the most wonderful man I'd ever met. The smell of fresh coffee drifted up from downstairs. Ryan must have set the timer on the coffee maker before he left for his early meeting. Always thoughtful, my husband. I stretched, feeling the satisfying pop of my joints, and grabbed my phone from the nightstand. No good morning text from Ryan. Strange. He always sent one when he left before I woke up. I checked the time. 8:47 a.m. His meeting started at 7:30. He was probably just busy. I padded downstairs in my silk pajamas, another gift from Ryan, and poured myself a cup of coffee. The kitchen was spotless as always. Ryan liked things neat, organized. A cluttered space means a cluttered mind, he'd say, straightening picture frames and aligning coffee mugs with precision. My phone buzzed. Finally, a text from Ryan. But when I opened it, my smile faltered. Working late tonight. Don't wait up. Sorry, baby. On our anniversary? I stared at the message, reading it 3 times. No, I love you. No anniversary wishes. Maybe he forgot. No, Ryan never forgot anything. He had the memory of an elephant and the attention to detail of a Swiss watchmaker. I decided right then. I would surprise him. Pack a romantic lunch, show up at his office, remind him what day it was. We could celebrate properly later, but at least we'd have lunch together. I spent the next hour preparing his favorites. Chicken Caesar wraps with extra Parmesan. Fresh fruit salad with the honeyed yogurt dip he loved. Those expensive dark chocolate truffles from the boutique downtown. I even stopped at the bakery for a mini anniversary cake. Chocolate with raspberry filling, just like our wedding cake. By 10:30, I was dressed in the red dress he'd bought me for my birthday. The one that made his eyes go dark with desire every time I wore it. I did my makeup carefully, adding the lipstick shade he'd once said made me look like a movie star. Every detail mattered. This would be perfect. The drive to his office took 45 minutes. Ryan worked at Blackstone Financial, a gleaming tower of glass and steel in the business district. He was Senior Vice President of Acquisitions, a title that rolled off his tongue with pride whenever anyone asked what he did. I parked in the visitors section and grabbed the picnic basket and cake box. My heels clicked against the pavement as I walked toward the entrance. The security guard, Thomas, recognized me immediately. Mrs. Blackwood. Lovely to see you. Is Mr. Blackwood expecting you? It's a surprise, I said, winking. Anniversary lunch. Thomas's face shifted slightly. Something flickered in his eyes. Was it concern? But before I could analyze it, he was smiling again, holding the door open. 3rd floor as always. Have a wonderful celebration. The elevator seemed to take forever. I watched the numbers climb. 1, 2. The doors opened with a soft ding. The reception area was all modern elegance. White marble, abstract art. A waterfall feature that trickled soothingly in the corner. Behind the curved reception desk sat Monica, the receptionist who'd been there since before Ryan started. She was typing rapidly, her long nails clicking against the keyboard. Monica! I called out cheerfully. She looked up and her face went white. Actually white, like someone had drained all the blood from it. The typing stopped. Her mouth opened, then closed like a fish gasping for air. Mrs. Blackwood, she stammered. You're here. Yes, surprise visit for our anniversary. I lifted the basket. Is Ryan in his office? I wanted to. You can't go back there. The words tumbled out of her mouth so fast they ran together. I laughed. Monica's fine. I'm his wife. I've surprised him before. She stood up abruptly, her chair rolling backward and hitting the wall. No, I mean, he's in a meeting. Very important meeting. Can't be disturbed. Oh. My smile dimmed slightly. Well, I can wait. How long do you think? He's with his wife. The words hung in the air between us like a blade waiting to drop. I felt my brain trying to process them, rearranging them into something that made sense. I'm sorry. I laughed, but it sounded hollow. I think you misspoke. I'm his wife. Monica's hands were trembling now. She gripped the edge of the desk. Mrs. Blackwood, the other Mrs. Blackwood, is with him. In his office. They're discussing private matters. The basket slipped from my numb fingers. I heard the crack of glass, probably the yogurt container, but it sounded very far away. The room tilted slightly. That's not possible, I whispered. I'm Renee Blackwood. I'm Ryan's wife. We've been married for 3 years. I have the certificate. The ring. I held up my left hand, the 2-carat diamond catching the light. Monica's eyes filled with tears. I'm so sorry. Thought you knew. I thought. God, I'm so sorry. My legs moved without my permission, carrying me toward the hallway that led to the offices. Monica scrambled around the desk, trying to block my path. Please don't go back there. Please just leave. For your own good. I pushed past her. My heels sank into the plush carpet as I walked down the familiar hallway. Past the conference room where I'd attended the company Christmas party last year. Past the break room where Ryan's colleagues had toasted our marriage. His office was at the end. The door was closed, but I could hear voices inside. Ryan's deep laugh. A woman's tinkling giggle. My hand reached for the doorknob. It turned easily. The scene inside burned itself into my retinas. Ryan at his desk, leaning back in his leather chair. A woman sitting on the desk itself, her legs crossed, her hand on his shoulder. They were looking at something on his computer screen, heads close together. She was beautiful. Long black hair, porcelain skin, wearing a designer suit that probably cost more than my car. On her left hand, a wedding ring. A bigger diamond than mine. A different setting, but unmistakably meant to match the band on Ryan's finger. The band I had placed there 3 years ago. They looked up at the same time. Ryan's face went through a series of expressions: surprise, annoyance, then something that looked almost like amusement. Renee, he said calmly. Too calmly. What are you doing here? The woman, the other wife, tilted her head. Is this her? The one you told me about? The one you told me about? I repeated. My voice sounded strange, disconnected from my body. Ryan stood up slowly. Renee, you need to leave. I'm your wife, I said. The words felt important. If I kept saying them, maybe they would become true again. The woman laughed. Actually laughed. Oh honey. No, you're not. She slid off the desk and walked toward me. Up close, I could see she was older than me, maybe 40 to my 32. Her perfume was expensive, suffocating. I'm Cassandra Blackwood, she said, extending her hand like we were at a networking event. Ryan's wife. His legal wife. We've been married for 15 years. The room spun. I gripped the doorframe. That's impossible. We got married. There was a ceremony. Papers. Everything was legal. Ryan sighed, rubbing his temples. Renee, let's not do this here. Do what? My voice was rising. Discuss the fact that you're apparently married to 2 people? No, Cassandra said, her voice sharp as a knife. He's married to 1 person. Me. Whatever you think you had with him, it wasn't legal. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands, scrolling to the photos from our wedding. Look. This is our wedding. Our friends were there. Your brother was your best man. I pointed at Ryan. Cassandra examined the photos with detached interest. Nice venue. Was that the Riverside Garden? Ryan always liked it there. She handed my phone back. Cute dress, by the way. Very optimistic. Ryan, tell her, I pleaded. Tell her she's confused. Tell her about us. Ryan walked around the desk, approaching me slowly like I was a wild animal. Renee, you need to calm down. Calm down. Calm down. The cake box fell from my hand, splattering chocolate and raspberry across the pristine white carpet. You're married to someone else. Lower your voice, he said, his tone shifting to something harder. The Ryan I knew, the gentle, loving Ryan, was gone. This man had cold eyes and a cruel twist to his mouth. How long? I asked. How long have you been lying to me? Cassandra laughed again. Oh, sweetie. He's been lying to you from day 1. You're not the first, you know. You what, number 4? 5. 6, Ryan corrected almost boredly. Renee's number 6. 6. I was number 6. 6 women who thought they were Mrs. Blackwood. Why? The word came out as a broken whisper. Ryan shrugged. Because I could. Because it was fun. Because you were so eager to believe in the fairy tale. He moved closer and I could smell his cologne, the one I'd bought him for Christmas. You made it so easy, Renee. So desperate for love, for someone to take care of you. Remember how you cried when I proposed? How you said no one had ever loved you like I did. Each word was a dagger. I remembered. I remembered everything. The proposal at sunset on the beach. The way he'd held me as I sobbed with joy. The promises he'd made. The marriage certificate, I said desperately. I have a marriage certificate. Fake, Cassandra said, examining her nails. Ryan's very good with documents. Aren't you, darling? Ryan smiled, that same smile that used to make my heart race. Now it made my skin crawl. I have a guy, he said. Makes very convincing paperwork. You'd be surprised how many women never actually check if their marriage is registered with the state. They just trust. He said the last word like it tasted bad. My mind was racing, trying to process everything. 3 years. 3 years of my life. Every morning waking up next to him. Every, I love you. Every plan we'd made for the future. Our talks about children. The house, I said suddenly. Our house. My name is on it. Ryan and Cassandra exchanged a look. Check again, Ryan said. Check very carefully. I think you'll find the paperwork isn't quite what you thought. My phone was already out. I pulled up the bank app. Our joint account. The one my salary went into, the one we used for all our expenses. Balance. $0. What did you do? I moved the money this morning, Ryan said casually. While you were sleeping. Figured today was as good a day as any to end this charade. That's my money. My salary. Prove it, he said. The account's in my name. You're just an authorized user. Check the paperwork. Oh wait, you never did you? Just trusted me to handle it. I was going to be sick. Actually, physically sick. I stumbled backward into the hallway. Where are you going? Cassandra called out. Don't you want to know the rest? Don't you want to know about the others? I turned back. I shouldn't have, but I did. Cassandra was holding Ryan's phone, scrolling through photos. Let's see. There's Jennifer. She lasted 8 months. Pretty thing but too smart. Started asking questions. Then there was Ashley. 2 years with her. She found out when she got pregnant. That was messy. She looked up at me. Did you think you were special? Did you think you were different? The baby, Ryan added, wasn't mine, by the way. Ashley was cheating. Funny how that works out. My back hit the wall. I slid down until I was sitting on the floor, my red dress pooling around me. The dress he'd bought me. Or had he? Was anything real? Why are you telling me this? I asked. Ryan crouched down in front of me. Because what are you going to do about it? Go to the police? With what evidence? An illegal marriage? A bank account you willingly put money into? No crime's been committed, Renee. Just a broken heart. You're a monster. I'm a businessman, he corrected. And this was a very profitable business. You alone contributed, what, $200,000 over 3 years? Not bad for a middle school teacher's salary. A middle school teacher. That's all I was to him. A mark. A victim. Monica appeared in the hallway, wringing her hands. Mr. Blackwood, should I call security? Not yet, Ryan said, standing up. Renee's just leaving. Aren't you, Renee? I struggled to my feet. Everything hurt. Not physically, but something deeper. Something in my chest that felt cracked and bleeding. The apartment, I said. Buy things. The locks were changed an hour ago, Ryan said. Your belongings will be placed in storage. You'll get a call with the unit number. Consider it a parting gift. You can't do this. It's done. He turned to walk back into his office, then paused. Oh, and Renee, don't try to contact me. Don't come to the office. Don't make a scene. You'll only embarrass yourself further. And believe me, I have enough ammunition to make your life very difficult if you become a problem. What ammunition? Cassandra held up a tablet. On it was a video. Me in our bedroom. Our intimate moments. Things I thought were private, sacred between husband and wife. Insurance policy, Ryan said. I have dozens. Would be a shame if they ended up online. What would your students' parents think? The floor seemed to tilt. I ran. Through the hallway past Monica into the elevator. I made it to the parking garage before I vomited, heaving until nothing was left. Before we continue, please write in the comment which country you are watching this video. We love knowing where our global family is tuning in from. And if this is your first time on this channel, please subscribe. Your support helps us bring even more epic revenge tales of life. Enjoy listening. I sat in my car for 2 hours, unable to move. Unable to think. My phone rang repeatedly, probably the school wondering why I hadn't returned from lunch. I let it ring. Finally, as the sun began to set, I drove to my sister's apartment. Melissa lived 40 minutes away in a cramped one-bedroom, but it was the only place I could go. She opened the door, took one look at my face and pulled me inside. "Renee? What happened?" "You look." "He's married," I said. The words felt like glass in my throat. "Ryan's married to someone else. Has been the whole time." Melissa's face went through several expressions before landing on rage. "That bastard. I knew something was off about him. I told you." "Please," I cut her off. "Not now. I need to figure out what to do." She made me tea while I told her everything. Every horrible detail. By the end she was crying too. "We're going to the police," she said. "And tell them what?" "He's right. No crime was committed. The marriage was fake, but I entered into it willingly. The money. I gave it freely. I'm an idiot, Mel. A complete idiot." "You're not an idiot. You're a victim. He's a con artist." Con artist. The words fit, but they felt too small for what Ryan had done. Con artist took your money. Ryan had taken everything. My trust, my future, my ability to believe in love. "I need to go to the house," I said. "Get my things before he throws them away." "I'll come with you." We drove to the house I'd called home for 3 years. The beautiful 2-story colonial with the wraparound porch where I'd imagined our children would play. The lights were on inside. I used my key, but it didn't work. The locks had been changed just like he said. Through the window I could see movement. Someone was inside. A woman. Young, maybe 25. Blonde. Laughing at something on her phone. "Who the hell is that?" Melissa whispered. I knew without asking. Number 7. I was already replaced. We left without confronting her. What was the point? She wouldn't believe me anyway. I wouldn't have believed it. Back at Melissa's apartment, I finally checked my phone. 17 missed calls from the school. 3 emails. The last one was my termination notice. They'd received an anonymous tip about inappropriate behavior. Attached were photos, not the intimate ones but others. Me at a bar, clearly drunk from some faculty party 2 years ago. Taken out of context, edited to look worse than they were. Ryan had already started destroying my life. "We need to fight back," Melissa said. "There has to be something we can do." "But what?" He held all the cards. The money, the videos, the power. I was nobody. A broke, homeless, jobless nobody who'd been stupid enough to fall for a con. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay on Melissa's couch, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of the last 3 years. Looking for signs I'd missed. They were all there in hindsight. The business trips that lasted just a bit too long. The separate credit cards for tax purposes. The way he'd insisted on handling all our financial matters. At 3 a.m. my phone buzzed. Unknown number. "You're not the only one he's hurt. If you want justice, meet me tomorrow. Midnight. Pier 47. Come alone." I almost didn't go. Melissa begged me not to. Could be a trap, could be Ryan trying to, what? Kill me. The thought wasn't as absurd as it should have been. But I went. Because what did I have to lose? Pier 47 was deserted at midnight. Fog rolled in from the ocean, making everything look like a horror movie. I waited, pepper spray clutched in my hand. A figure emerged from the shadows. A woman mid-30s with tired eyes and sharp cheekbones. "Renee." I nodded. "I'm Jennifer. Number 3. Jennifer. Cassandra had mentioned her. The one who lasted 8 months. The one who got too smart. "How did you find me?" "I've been watching Ryan for 2 years, she said. "Waiting. When I saw you at the office today, I knew. He always ends things the same way. Public humiliation. Complete destruction." "Why are you watching him?" Jennifer lit a cigarette with shaking hands. "Because he didn't just steal my money. He stole my daughter." "What?" "I had a child. From a previous relationship. He was 5 when I met Ryan. Sweet kid. Loved everyone." Jennifer took a long drag. "Ryan was so good with her. The perfect stepfather. I thought I'd found our happy ending." "What happened?" "When I discovered the truth about him, I tried to leave quietly. Just take Lucy and go. But he'd been prepared." Her voice cracked. "He'd been documenting things. making it look like I was an unfit mother. Drugs planted in my car. Falsified reports of abuse. By the time he was done, I'd lost custody. Lucy went to her biological father, who Ryan had somehow convinced I was dangerous. Oh my God. I haven't seen her in 2 years. Her father won't let me near her. Says I'm unstable. Ryan made sure of that. We stood in silence for a moment, the fog swirling around us. There are others, Jennifer said. Women he's destroyed. I've found 4 besides us. Ashley's in a psychiatric facility. Apparently had a complete breakdown. Maria lost her nursing license after drugs showed up in her system during a random test. Sarah killed herself 6 months ago. Jesus. He's evil, Renee. Pure evil. And he needs to be stopped. How? He's too careful. Too smart. Jennifer smiled for the first time. It was not a pleasant smile. He's arrogant. And arrogance makes people sloppy. I've been gathering evidence. Following him. Cassandra too. Did you know she's not innocent in this? He helps him. Finds the targets. Does the research. They're partners. In every sense. They've been running this con for 20 years. Dozens of women. Millions of dollars. And one more thing. Ryan Blackwood isn't even his real name. My head snapped up. What? His name is Daniel Thorne. He's wanted in 3 states for fraud. Been running from the law for 15 years. Cassandra is really Catherine Mills, also wanted. They've built these personas so carefully that no one's connected them to their old crimes. How do you know this? Jennifer pulled out a folder thick with documents. 2 years of investigation. Hiring a private detective with the last of my savings. Following paper trails. He handed me the folder. It's all here. Their real identities. Their crimes. Evidence of what they've done to us and others. This is enough to go to the police. No. The police will arrest them maybe. They'll get lawyers. Make bail. Disappear. Start over somewhere else with new names, new victims. Jennifer's eyes glowed with fury. They need to pay. Really pay. What are you suggesting? Justice. The kind they deserve. I looked at the folder, then at Jennifer. I'm in. We spent the next week planning. Jennifer introduced me to the others she'd found. Maria, the nurse, whose hands still shook from the withdrawal she'd gone through after Ryan drugged her. Rebecca, who'd lost her family's respect when Ryan convinced them she was embezzling from the family business. Each woman had a story. Each had lost everything. We need to get into his real files, Maria said. The ones he keeps hidden. Jennifer's evidence is good, but we need more. We need everything. How? I still have a key, Rebecca said quietly. Not to the house you knew, Renee. To his real house. Where he actually lives with Cassandra. We all stared at her. You know where they really live? I followed him once. After I found out. He went to this mansion across town. Gated community. High security. But I know the gate code. I watched him enter it. It was dangerous. Potentially illegal. But we were past caring about legal. The next night, while Ryan was at a business dinner, Jennifer had been tracking his schedule, we went to the house. It was massive. 3 times the size of the home I'd thought was ours. The gate code worked. The house was dark. We entered through a back door that Rebecca's key still opened. Inside was opulence. Real art on the walls. Furniture that cost more than I'd made in a year. And photos. So many photos. Ryan and Cassandra with people I recognized from magazines. Politicians. Celebrities. All smiles, all fake. His office, Jennifer whispered. Find his office. We found it on the 2nd floor. Locked, but Maria had learned some skills in her desperate years. The lock clicked open. The office was a shrine to ego. Awards, degrees, fake we assumed, and a massive desk with 3 computer monitors. Look for files, I said. Physical ones. He's old school about some things. We searched carefully, aware that any moment could bring discovery. Then Rebecca found it. A hidden panel behind a bookshelf. Inside, dozens of folders. Each with a woman's name. I found mine. Everything was there. Copies of my fake marriage certificate. My financial records. The videos. Notes in Ryan's handwriting about my weaknesses and exploitation points. One line stood out. Desperate for father figure. Lost dad young. Easy manipulation through paternal affection. I wanted to vomit. He'd known exactly what buttons to push. Oh my God, Maria breathed. She was looking at another folder. This one. She's only 19. We photographed everything. Every document, every file. Then Jennifer found the real prize. A ledger. Not just of the women he'd conned but of the money. Where it went. Offshore accounts. Shell companies. Tax evasion on a massive scale. This is it, she said. This is enough to bury him. A car door slammed outside. We froze. Footsteps on the driveway. Ryan's voice talking on the phone. Go, Jennifer hissed. Back door. Now. We ran, clutching our evidence. Made it to the car just as lights flicked on in the house. Drove away with hearts pounding. He'll know someone was there, Rebecca said. Let him, Jennifer replied. Let him be scared for once. Chapter 5. The Trap. Ryan knew. The next day I got a text from that unknown number again. This time it was him. Clever. But if any of that sees daylight, your videos go viral. Try me. But we weren't backing down. Not anymore. Jennifer had a plan. He's getting married again. For real this time, to maintain his cover. Some socialite. Huge wedding next month. All of high society will be there. So we destroy him there. Publicly. Completely. In front of everyone who matters to him. It was risky. But the thought of Ryan in handcuffs at his own wedding was too delicious to pass up. We refined our plan over the next 3 weeks. Maria used her remaining connections to get us catering uniforms. Rebecca accessed the venue's layout through a friend in event planning. I practiced what I would say, what I would do. But Ryan made the first move. 2 days before the wedding, Melissa called me crying. Renee, you need to come home. Now. I rushed to her apartment. She was on the floor, surrounded by printed pages. They came in the mail, she sobbed. Addressed to my work. Everyone saw. The photos were of me. Intimate ones but edited. Made to look like I was with multiple men. Made to look like I was selling myself. The accompanying letter, supposedly from me, confessed to a life of deception. To using Ryan. To being the real con artist. My phone was already ringing. Friends. Former colleagues. All getting the same package. He's destroying me, I whispered. Fight back, Melissa said. You have to fight back. But how could I? He'd fired first and he'd fired to kill. My reputation was in ruins. Even if I showed our evidence, who would believe me now? I looked like the bitter ex trying to destroy an innocent man. Jennifer called an emergency meeting. We move up the timeline, she said. He's panicking. That's why he did this. He knows we have something. The wedding is in 2 days. Then we have 2 days to prepare. The Blackstone Grand Hotel ballroom was decorated like a fairy tale. Thousands of white roses, crystal chandeliers, gold everything. 500 guests in designer clothes. We were in the kitchen dressed as servers. My hands shook as I adjusted my wig. We'd all changed our appearances. Ryan wouldn't recognize us unless he looked closely, and he was too busy playing the perfect groom to look at the help. I could see him through the service window. Immaculate in his tuxedo, laughing with senators and CEOs. Catherine, was there too, playing the role of supportive ex-wife who'd remained friends. The bride, Natasha Winters, was 23, heiress to a pharmaceutical fortune, and had no idea what she was walking into. Phase 1, Jennifer whispered. Rebecca walked out with a tray of champagne. As she passed the AV system, she plugged in a USB drive. Nobody noticed the server fiddling with equipment. The ceremony began. Natasha walked down the aisle, radiant and innocent. My heart broke for her. She was about to become number 8 unless we stopped this. Dearly beloved, the officiant began. I moved to position. Maria was at the back exit. Jennifer near the front. Rebecca by the tech booth. If anyone has any reason why these two should not be married. I stepped out from behind the service door. I do. 500 heads turned. Ryan's face went white, then red. Security, he barked. But I was already at the microphone. My name is Renee Blackwood. Except it's not, because my marriage to Ryan Blackwood was fake. Because Ryan Blackwood isn't real. Security guards moved toward me, but Jennifer stepped out, blocking them. I'm Jennifer Martinez. Ryan's third wife. Also fake. Maria emerged. Maria Thompson. Wife number 4. Rebecca Jackson. Number 5. The room erupted in whispers. Natasha looked confused, then angry, then terrified. These women are mentally ill, Ryan announced, trying to regain control. Stalkers who? The screens around the room flickered to life. Rebecca's USB had worked. Documents appeared. The real marriage certificate between Daniel Thorne and Catherine Mills. Arrest warrants from 15 years ago. Photos of Ryan with different women, all wearing wedding dresses, all at different altars. Daniel Thorne, I said into the microphone, wanted in California, Nevada, and Arizona for fraud, identity theft, and embezzlement. Catherine Mills, his accomplice. They've stolen millions. Destroyed dozens of lives. Cassandra, Catherine, was trying to leave, but Maria blocked her path. You're lying. Ryan roared. But his voice cracked. The mask was slipping. The FBI would disagree, Jennifer said. She held up her phone. They're already on their way. You see, we sent them everything 3 hours ago. The ledgers. The offshore accounts. The tax evasion. Everything. Sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. Ryan's eyes darted around the room looking for exits. But we'd covered them all. Years of planning, weeks of preparation, all for this moment. Natasha, I said, turning to the bride. Check your prenup. The one he insisted you sign. Check who actually benefits if something happens to you. Natasha's father, a stern man with silver hair, stood up. What are you talking about? Page 47, subsection 3, Rebecca called out. In the event of the bride's death or incapacitation within the first year, all assets transfer to the groom. That's standard. Ryan protested. But sweat was pouring down his face. Is it? Maria asked. Just like the insurance policy you took out on her last week? $5 million. Natasha stepped away from Ryan, her wedding dress trailing. You were going to kill me? No. These bitches are crazy. They're jealous, vindictive. The ballroom doors burst open. FBI agents flooded in, weapons drawn. Daniel Thorne, Catherine Mills, you're under arrest. Ryan tried to run. Tried to push through the crowd. But there was nowhere to go. They tackled him at the altar, his perfect tuxedo tearing, his carefully styled hair musing. Catherine was caught at the service door, screaming about lawyers and lawsuits. As they dragged him past me, Ryan looked me in the eyes. You stupid bitch. You think you've won? I'll destroy you from prison. Those videos are gone, I said calmly. We hacked your cloud storage last night. Deleted everything. Your insurance policy is gone, Daniel. You've got nothing. His face contorted with rage. I'll kill you. I'll kill all of you. No, I said. You'll rot in prison. And every night, you'll think about how 4 women you tried to destroy brought you down. They dragged him away, his screams echoing through the ballroom. The wedding guests sat in stunned silence, then erupted in chaos. Phones came out. Pictures were taken. Within minutes, the story would be everywhere. Natasha collapsed into her father's arms, sobbing. I wanted to comfort her, but we weren't done yet. The FBI agents wanted our statements immediately. We spent the next 6 hours in a conference room at the hotel, laying out everything. Every detail, every crime, every piece of evidence. Agent Patricia Stone, a woman with sharp eyes and graying hair, listened intently. You ladies did excellent work, she said. But I have to ask, why didn't you come to us sooner? Would you have believed us? Jennifer asked. 4 women with stories about a fake husband? Without the evidence we gathered, we would have sounded insane. Agent Stone nodded slowly. Fair point. The evidence you've provided is comprehensive. But there's something else. Something bigger. What do you mean? She pulled out a tablet showing us a map with red dots across the country. Daniel Thorne and Catherine Mills weren't working alone. They're part of a network. A ring of con artists targeting vulnerable women. We've been tracking them for years but could never get enough evidence. My blood ran cold. How many? At least 50 operatives that we know of. Hundreds of victims. Billions in stolen assets. She looked at each of us. Your evidence doesn't just take down Thorne and Mills. It gives us the key to the entire operation. Who's running it? Maria asked. That's what we need to find out. Thorne will flip. Men like him always do when facing life in prison. But we need more. She leaned forward. We need you to help us. We're not agents, Rebecca protested. No, but you're victims who fought back. Other women will trust you. Talk to you. We need you to help us find them, get their stories, build cases against the rest of the network. I looked at the others. We'd come so far together. Been through hell. But there were more women out there, suffering in silence, thinking they were alone. We'll do it, I said. 3 months later, I was living under a different name in a different city, working with the FBI to track down victims. The work was grueling, heartbreaking. Every woman's story was worse than the last. I found Teresa in Detroit, homeless, living under a bridge. Her husband had taken everything, including her children, convincing the courts she was an unfit mother. Linda in Phoenix had been committed to a psychiatric facility after her husband gaslit her so thoroughly she no longer trusted her own mind. Carol in Boston had attempted suicide twice after discovering her 5-year marriage was a lie. Each woman we found led us to another operative. The network was vast, sophisticated. They had lawyers, doctors, even judges on their payroll. They shared tactics, targets, resources. It was a corporation of cruelty. But we were making progress. 17 arrests in 3 months. Millions in assets frozen. Stories starting to emerge in the media about the romance syndicate. Then Jennifer called me at 2 a.m. Renee, you need to be careful. I just got word from my FBI contact. Someone in the network put a hit out on us. What? They know we're the ones who started this. There's a bounty. $500,000 for each of us. I looked around my sparse apartment, suddenly feeling exposed. What do we do? Stay low. Stay armed. Trust no one new. But it was already too late. The next morning, Maria was found in her apartment, beaten nearly to death. She survived, barely, but would never walk again. The message was clear. Stop or you're next. Rebecca went into witness protection immediately. But Jennifer and I refused to hide. We'd come too far. They want us scared, Jennifer said as we sat in an FBI safe house. But I'm done being scared. I've been scared for 2 years. Now I'm just angry. Agent Stone tried to convince us to back off. Let us handle it from here. No, I said. This is personal. They made it personal when they destroyed our lives. We finish this. She sighed. Then we do it my way. Full protection detail. You wear wires. Everything by the book. We agreed, but I knew Jennifer had other plans. I could see it in her eyes. The same darkness that had been growing in mine. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Cassandra, Catherine, flipped in prison. Faced with life without parole, she gave up everything. Names, addresses, bank accounts. Most importantly, she gave up the leader. Antonio King. Real name unknown. The ghost who'd built the entire network. No photos, no fingerprints, no official records. But Catherine knew where he'd be. There's a gathering, she told the FBI, desperate for a deal. Annual meeting of the top operatives. It's happening next week. Private island off the coast of Maine. It was too perfect. Too convenient. I smelled a trap. She's lying, I told Agent Stone. Our intelligence confirms the gathering. Satellite images show activity on the island. It's still a trap. But the FBI was mobilizing. This was their chance to cut off the snake's head. They planned a massive raid. Jennifer pulled me aside. They're walking into a slaughter. What do you want to do? Get there first. It was insane. 2 civilians against an island full of criminals. But Jennifer had a point. The FBI would follow protocol. Warrants, procedures, bureaucracy. We had none of those constraints. We hired a boat. Loaded it with supplies that Jennifer procured through channels I didn't ask about. Weapons. Surveillance equipment. And something else. Several containers marked with hazard symbols. What's that? I asked. Insurance, Jennifer replied. We reached the island at dusk, 12 hours before the FBI raid. The compound was massive. A white mansion surrounded by smaller buildings, all behind high walls. Guards patrolled with military precision. How do we get in? Jennifer smiled grimly. We don't. They come to us. She'd studied the island's infrastructure. 1 road in and out. 1 power source. A generator building on the north side. 1 water supply. We hit the generator first. The explosives Jennifer had brought were small but effective. The island plunged into darkness. Chaos erupted. Guards scrambling, shouting orders. Emergency lighting kicked in, but it wasn't enough. In the confusion, we slipped through the perimeter. The mansion was in pandemonium. People in expensive suits running around trying to restore order. I recognized some from our files. Con artists who'd destroyed hundreds of lives, living like kings. Find King, Jennifer whispered. We moved through the mansion like shadows. Room by room, hunting our prey. In the library we found documents. Not just about the romance scams but other operations. Human trafficking. Drug running. The romance cons were just one tentacle of something much darker. Dear God, I breathed. Keep moving, Jennifer urged. Then we heard it. A voice from the third floor, calm despite the chaos. Giving orders with military precision. That's him, Jennifer said. Has to be. We climbed the stairs carefully. The hallway was ornate, lined with stolen art. At the end, double doors slightly open. Light spilling out. Inside, a man stood with his back to us, looking out at the ocean. Tall, silver-haired, wearing a suit that probably cost more than most people's cars. I was wondering when you'd arrive, he said without turning. Renee and Jennifer. The thorns in my side. Antonio King, Jennifer said, gun raised. He turned slowly. His face was unremarkable. The kind you'd forget immediately. Perfect for a ghost. That's one of my names, he admitted. Though I confess I've forgotten my real one. I've been so many people over the years. It's over, I said. The FBI is coming. Your network is finished. He laughed. Actually laughed. My dear, do you think this is my only network? I have operations in 17 countries. You've inconvenienced me, nothing more. Those women you destroyed chose to be victims, he interrupted. They wanted to believe in fairy tales. I simply gave them what they wanted for a price. You're a monster. I'm a businessman. Supply and demand. Lonely women demand love. I supply the illusion. Jennifer's finger tightened on the trigger. You supplied more than that. The trafficking. The drugs. His smile widened. Diversification. Though I must admit the romance angle was always my favorite. So elegant. So clean. Until you came along. Sarah killed herself because of you, I said. Ashley's in a psychiatric ward. Maria can't walk. Casualties of business. Jennifer fired. The bullet took him in the shoulder, spinning him around. He crashed into his desk, blood spreading across his expensive suit. That's for Lucy, she said. My daughter. She walked closer, gun still aimed. You took everything from us. King pressed a hand to his wound, his face pale but still smiling. And what will killing me accomplish? The network will continue. Others will take my place. You can't kill an idea, and that's all I am. An idea that desperate people will always fall for lies. Maybe, I said. But we can kill you. But before Jennifer could fire again, the doors burst open. Not FBI. King's security. 5 men with automatic weapons. Drop the gun, the lead one ordered. Jennifer hesitated. In that moment, King pulled a gun from his desk drawer. Everything happened at once. Jennifer dove left. I dove right. Bullets filled the air. I heard Jennifer scream. When the shooting stopped, Jennifer was on the ground, blood pooling beneath her. King was standing, his good hand holding the gun, pointing it at me. You should have left it alone, he said. Now you get to watch your friend die before I kill you. Jennifer was gasping, trying to speak. Her hand moved to her pocket. Any last words? King asked me. Just one question, I said, stalling. Was any of it real? Did Ryan, Daniel, ever feel anything? King laughed, though it was strained. Daniel was my best student. Could make any woman believe anything. But feel. Well, people like us don't feel. We observe, we mimic, we take. That's what makes us perfect predators. Jennifer's hand found what she was looking for. A small device with a single button. Renee, she wheezed. Run. I understood immediately. The containers. The insurance. She'd rigged the mansion. I sprinted for the window as Jennifer pressed the button. The explosion started in the basement. I crashed through the glass as the floor erupted beneath us. Hit the water 40 feet below as the entire mansion became a fireball. The cold shocked my system. I surfaced, gasping, searching for Jennifer. But she was gone. The mansion was an inferno. Anyone inside was dead, including Jennifer, my friend, my partner, my sister in revenge. I floated there watching the island burn until the FBI boats arrived. 6 months later, I sat in a coffee shop reading the news on my tablet. The headline, Romance Syndicate Trial Concludes. 47 convicted. Daniel Thorne got life without parole. Catherine Mills got 40 years. The network was destroyed, its assets distributed to victims. I got my money back. Most of it, anyway. Enough to start over. I was teaching again, different state, different name. The nightmares were less frequent. Maria was learning to walk with assistance. Rebecca had started a support group for victims. We'd all found our ways to heal. But Jennifer was gone. The official report said she died in the explosion that killed Antonio King and 6 other high-ranking members. A hero, they called her. They were right. I kept a photo of her in my wallet. Not from after, but from before. When she was just a mother who loved her daughter. Before Ryan. Before the pain. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. My blood froze. Not again. But when I opened it, I smiled. Lucy is safe. Her father finally believed the truth. She asks about you sometimes. I tell her you're an angel who saved her mommy. Thank you, Jay. I read it 3 times, then deleted it. Some secrets were worth keeping. A man at the next table smiled at me. Handsome, charming smile. The kind that would have melted me once. Excuse me, he said. I couldn't help but notice you. Could I buy you a coffee? Once I would have blushed, been flattered. Now I saw the calculation in his eyes. The practiced charm. The wedding ring tan line on his finger. No, I said simply, gathering my things. Come on, just coffee. I promise I'm one of the good guys. I looked him directly in the eyes. No, you're not. I left him there, confused and deflated. Outside the sun was shining. It was a beautiful day. I had a life to live. A real one this time. As I walked away, I thought about Ryan. He was in maximum security, but I'd heard from Agent Stone that he spent his days in solitary, slowly going insane, haunted by the women he'd destroyed. His mind was breaking, fragmenting. The prison psychiatrist said he'd started seeing Jennifer everywhere. She was his constant companion now, tormenting him even in death. Perfect. Cassandra had been shanked in prison 3 months into her sentence. Apparently, she tried to run her con on the wrong woman. She survived but would never speak again. The damage to her throat was too severe. The other victims were slowly rebuilding. We had a private online group where we checked in, supported each other. Some were dating again carefully. Others, like me, had decided love wasn't worth the risk. But we were all alive. We were all free. The official story ended there. The bad guys punished, the victims healing, justice served. But the real story was darker. Because Jennifer hadn't died in that explosion. I'd seen her just for a moment on a security camera feed from a building across from the mansion. She'd gotten out through a secret tunnel King had built. She'd watched it burn, then disappeared into the night. She was out there somewhere hunting the ones who'd escaped. The network members in those 17 countries King had mentioned. She'd become something else. Not a victim, not even a survivor. Something harder. Something necessary. Sometimes I got postcards. No return address, no signature. Just locations. Paris. Moscow. Tokyo. And on the back a number. 7, 12, 23. The count of how many she'd found. How many she'd stopped. The FBI would call it vigilantism. I called it justice. My new life was quiet. Simple. I taught 5th grade. I had a small apartment with a good lock system. I volunteered at a women's shelter, teaching financial literacy, helping women spot the signs of manipulation. I never told my story publicly. The other victims became the faces of survival. I preferred the shadows. It was safer there. But every woman who came to my class at the shelter heard this. Trust but verify. Love but protect yourself. Anyone who truly loves you will understand your need for independence. Anyone who doesn't isn't worth your time. Some called me cynical. I preferred realistic. The coffee shop faded behind me as I walked to school. My students were doing presentations today about their heroes. They talk about athletes and actors, parents and teachers. None of them would know their teacher had helped bring down a criminal empire. None of them would know about the women who'd fought back. About Jennifer who'd sacrificed everything. And that was okay. Heroes don't need recognition. They just need to know they made a difference. As I reached the school, my phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. This time just coordinates and a date. 3 weeks from now. Miami. I deleted the message but memorized the information. The official story said the network was dead. But Jennifer and I knew better. Evil doesn't die easily. It adapts, evolves, finds new shapes. But so did we. I entered my classroom smiling at my students. They had no idea their teacher had another life. A darker purpose. That in 3 weeks I'd take a sick day and fly to Miami. That Jennifer and I would hunt together again. Because the story wasn't over. Not really. Men like Ryan, like King, they were symptoms of something larger. A world that taught men they were entitled to women's trust, love, and money. A system that blamed victims for believing lies. We couldn't change the world. But we could make the predators afraid. We could make them look over their shoulders. We could make them wonder if that woman at the bar, the one who seemed so trusting, so naive, was actually the hunter. The bell rang. My students filed in, chattering excitedly about their presentations. "Good morning, Ms. Mitchell," they chorused. Mitchell was my new name. Renee had died in that explosion, at least officially. "Good morning, class. Who wants to tell us about their hero first?" Little Amy raised her hand. "My hero is my mom. She left my dad when he was mean to us. She's brave." "She sounds very brave," I agreed, thinking of all the women who never got the chance to leave. Who were trapped by love that was really possession, by promises that were really chains. The presentations continued. Each child's hero was someone who'd stood up to bullies, who'd protected others, who'd been brave. They didn't know it, but they were describing Jennifer, Maria, Baba, all of us who'd refused to be victims forever. When the class ended and the children left for recess, I sat at my desk and pulled out the postcard that had arrived yesterday. The Eiffel Tower on the front. On the back, 28. Found another ring. Could use backup. J. I smiled. Jennifer was building an army. Other victims who'd become hunters. We were spreading across the globe a network of our own. Not for crime but for justice. That night I booked my ticket to Miami. Told the principal I needed a personal day. Packed the special suitcase I kept hidden in my closet. The one with the weapons, the surveillance equipment, the new identity documents Jennifer had sent. Ms. Mitchell would teach her class. But Renee, the real Renee, the one forged in betrayal and tempered in revenge, would hunt. The news never reported the strange pattern. Con men found dead or mysteriously confessing to their crimes. Romance scammers suddenly returning all the money they'd stolen. Entire networks collapsing overnight. They called it coincidence. Bad luck for the bad guys. We called it justice. My phone rang. Jennifer's voice, altered by a voice changer, came through. "Miami's bigger than we thought. At least 12 targets. You in? Always. Good. Bring the others." The others. Our network had grown. 50 women now. All victims who'd refused to stay victims. We had our own resources, our own intelligence, our own methods. The FBI thought the romance syndicate was dead. They were wrong. It had evolved, metastasized. But so had we. "Jennifer," I said before she hung up. "Do you ever regret it? What we've become?" There was a long pause. "I regret not doing it sooner. How many Sarahs could we have saved? How many Ashleys?" He was right. We'd waited too long, hoping the system would save us. Now we were the system. "See you in Miami," I said. "Renee? Be careful. Word is they know about us. They're calling us the Black Widows." I laughed. "Good. Let them know we're coming." I hung up and looked at myself in the mirror. The woman staring back wasn't the naive teacher who'd fallen for Ryan's lies. She was something harder, sharper. Something forged in betrayal and cooled in revenge. Tomorrow Ms. Mitchell would teach her students about photosynthesis. But tonight Renee would plan. Research the Miami targets. Coordinate with the others. The story that started with a surprise visit to my husband's office had become something else entirely. A war. A revolution. A reckoning. Ryan had created me in a way. His betrayal had killed the woman I was and birthed the woman I'd become. I wondered if he knew in his padded cell what he'd unleashed. I hoped he did. I hoped he knew that every romance scammer who disappeared, every con artist who was exposed, every predator who was punished, it all traced back to him. To that moment when he'd smiled and told me I was number 6. Now I was number 1. The first Black Widow. The original. The one who'd started it all. And I was just getting started. The moon rose over the city, full and bright. Somewhere out there, a woman was probably falling for a con man's lies right now. Believing in false love, fake promises. But maybe, just maybe, she'd remember something. A news story about the romance syndicate. A warning from a friend. A gut feeling that something was wrong. And maybe she'd walk away. Save herself. Or maybe she'd become one of us. Another Black Widow spinning webs for the predators who thought they were the spiders. Either way, the world was changing. One predator at a time. My phone buzzed with another message. This time from Maria, who'd learned to walk again and had learned other things too. Skills that made her valuable to our cause. Found 3 more in Chicago. They're targeting elderly widows. Permission to engage. Granted. No traces. Never. I deleted the conversation and closed my eyes. Tomorrow would come soon enough with its false normalcy and careful pretense. But tonight I was exactly who Ryan had made me. A survivor. Fighter. A Black Widow. And I had work to do.